Nicholas,
What's up, Alex?
how you feeling?
Good. I put those glasses because I just beat the odds off.
That's true. That's true. Man, it's been a few minutes since your fight. How do you feel about your performance?
I feel great. I did exactly what I've been working a lot, extreme, and what I've been working with my coach and with my training parts. My main training partner was Julian Rosa, and he has a similar style and similar body. Like Julian is a very tall, 45 with very lanky arms and very aggressive, just like my opponent. And I knew that wouldn't be an easy task because this guy I fought, like when I watch his fight on Contender, everything looks perfect. We couldn't see nothing. We couldn't see any mistake in his fight on Dana White Contender Series, and I knew that he was supposed to be like a big star coming from Australia, and that's why I'm saying that I just beat the odds.
Yeah, you were a big underdog. Like you said, he was talking a lot of trash on social media. So, like, did that give you more motivation to go in there?
Of course, that gave me a lot of motivation, but I don't know if it was personal, but I saw a lot of things of. I saw when he got signed, he said something that when he has an opponent, his whole life goes around the guy, and he's trying to take as many years possible of the guy life. And I was like, damn, why, man? Everyone has family, and like I'm a very exciting fighter. I want to entertain people. I want to put in a nice performance. I want to put in wars and knock people out. But at the same time, I don't want to hurt nobody. And also, I saw that he said in social media that um, that's going to be a highlight. He'll finish, and I promise you guys, I'm going to show how violent I am. And I had to wear that shirt again that says, I am comfortable with violence. That's a shirt that my friend Vince Pichel likes to wear. Then I copy him, that crazy guy.
How much pressure was on your shoulders coming into this fight, right? Like, your last fight was kind of controversial, and then you had lost your other fight. So, how much, like, what pressure was coming into this fight?
In UFC, every fight it's a lot of pressure because UFC is the highest level of the sport, and we all know that in UFC you have to put in good performance, you have to win to keep your job, and yeah, it was always we have pressure, but pressure makes diamonds.
And I want to ask you, like, what were the emotions like coming into this fight? Because you talk to anyone at Extreme Couture, and they always say Nicholas is one of the best fighters in that gym.
Really?
But you weren't showing up in the octagon
Exactly. Yes.
as much as you were in the gym, right? So,
Exactly.
was that kind of frustrating?
Yeah, of course it was, and my coach even says that, brother, you didn't show not even half of all your skills you have, and I knew that. But I know my beginning UFC was hard. My debut was Jim Miller, the guy who has the highest numbers of fighters and wins in the lightweight division, which is the hardest division in the whole sport. And I saw Jim Miller at the wins, and I say, brother. I'm fighting a debut guy, just like when we fought. I'm gonna do the same thing you did to me. I'm gonna use the experience, and that's what I did. I used my experience, and I did welcome Tom Nolan to UFC. And he's a great fighter. Like I said, when I watch his fight, everything looks perfect. He's undefeated, and he has a nice like body type. He's crazy, 6'3", and his body type is kind of like Sanhagen, and I see like he's so confident that he says that he's gonna be UFC champion, and he can do it because he's a very young guy. He's 23 years old, and even I think that was disrespectful. The things he said about me, he's young too. Like when I was that young, I did things like that too, and I had to learn, and that's how we learn in life. with experience, sometimes a bad experience, but we just gotta learn from that and grow as a fighter, as a man, as a not just a man, as a person.
It was a quick turnaround. So are you trying to turn around quick again? Maybe fight on that Atlantic City card.
Oh, that would be so nice because the best times of my career was fighting there in Atlantic City. Yeah, my best fights used to be in Atlantic City. So yeah, that's a good idea. But also, I have to go to Brazil at least a week. I have to go see I own them that because I left home when I was really young to be a professional fighter, and after I moved to America by myself 6 years ago, and I'm always far from my family. And each time I go there, I see all my parents and all my whole family, everyone getting older, and I can't be so selfish, and I have to go there and give some love to my family. Then after come back and get another fight.
And finally, for me, with your next fight, it has to be in front of a crowd, right? Because
Oh
you
yeah,
haven't had a
yeah.
UFC crowd yet.
Yeah, that would be so nice to walk out with my walkout song and touching people's hands and feeling the energy of the crowd. And I feel always when I did fall with a crowd was my adrenaline made me do some like crazy stuff, and I had some good knockouts with the crowd.
Congrats.
Thanks.
I've just got one for you. You mentioned a little bit about the trash talk that your opponent had before the fight. Do you find that that makes the fight a little bit more easy for you when you have an opponent that has kind of said some negative things, that you have a little bit more motivation, or do you prefer that there's respect going in?
Yeah, right. I'm complaining about it, but at the same time, it's good for me, right? Because it gives a lot of motivation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nicholas over here. Obviously, we all know how big the mental aspect is in sports, and given your recent run, how much of a confidence booster is this for you in your career?
Yeah, man. I think maybe that's why I had some ups and downs. Is I think it's all mental, and I had to learn and and I had like ups and downs, and I had to grow from this. I have to learn from this bad experience, and I was given an example of Charles and Glover that they had difficult times like that too, and they always did bounce back, and they even like they had some ups and downs. They always keep going, never gave up. And in Brazil, they have a saying that Brazilians never give up, and I think a lot of us that came from Brazil sometimes we have that mentality to don't give up.
Was there like a big switch for you going into this one that got you the win, or was it just you know,
What do you mean by a big
like was
switch?
there any switch in anything, whether like a mental aspect going into this, like did you approach this differently mentally, or how was there any difference at all in this fight week?
Yeah, it was too. I'm always trying to improve that too. I'm always trying to study and get better in everything in my life, mentally, physically, and I'm always doing that and spiritually too. I believe in God too, and that's it. Yeah.
Awesome, and obviously Extreme Couture representation out here next week. We have Sean Strickland defending his title. How do you see that one going?
Oh yeah, Strickland. He gave me a good advice one day that I was like doing too much footwork, and and he came at me and he told me about having fun, and like also Seth would say you have to be yourself, brother, because I was trying to do too much footwork and I was overthinking too much things, and he showed me how simple things can be, and that's what I did today.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And I know you mentioned that it's tough being away from the family. I'm sure it's very, very hard, but what's the general feedback that you get from them? Are they happy for you, and do they understand why you made the move, and do they feel that that was the right decision?
Yeah, they understand, and they always saw how much I love the sport, how much I love fighting, and they know how everything I do I take it seriously, and I don't like I don't know if I can say fuck around. I don't fuck around. I really stand on hard work and discipline, and I live for this. I'm a disciplined guy, and yeah, they knew I'm doing good things, and I hope that one day I can use my talent and like what I can use this sport to help other people too. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've actually seen that recently. Amanda Hebus is one of the ones that opened up a facility to help with kids there. So you're hoping to be able to take something and improve the lives of Brazilians back home? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course, Brazil and in America too. I live in America. I've been a permanent resident for 4 years. 5 years I can become an American citizen, and I look forward for that because I love this country, and this country was what made possible for me to live my dreams, and this country gave me great opportunities, and I'm really happy to be here. And even some people complain, no way it's perfect, but I love this country.
That's awesome. Last for me, you definitely say that you've learned from experience and the feedback that you get from past fights. There was a moment, I don't know if you can sort of say what it was, but it looked like Ray was talking to you right after the fight, giving you feedback, maybe as for what worked out there. Maybe I just read it wrong, we couldn't hear, but what sort of things did they say to you right after the fight when it had completed?
Yeah, Ray told me that he was really proud and happy, and we just talk about how simple things can be. Sometimes we overthink too much. I know I do. Sometimes I overthink, and I try to be too perfectionist sometimes, and watch my opponent too much and make too many, like overthinking things too much. But sometimes it's simple, and like he say, you just gotta be yourself and just believe on my skills, and that's it.
Awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thanks.
Nick, congrats on the win. Just to kind of touch on what you talked about with Kenny, your performance, it seemed like you had fun, but you weren't perfectionist, you weren't overthinking, but you were so on it. Your kicks were super fast, and you were very aggressive.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking a lot about that, about like what brought me here to the UFC was my aggressiveness and like my knockout ratio. Like that's why I have most of my wins by knockout, and I try to bring back some of this aggressiveness, and I try to find the right balance, like being aggressive but at the same time being smart and being sharp, and finally I found it the balance that I was looking for, the balance.
That's awesome. And you mentioned
Thanks.
the glasses because you beat the odds, but I think it's for a bright future.
Thanks. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks. Thanks.